when I was outside earlier, I said, okay, this is cold.
Yeah.
This is bitter.
It feels like it should this time of the year.
That's normal for now.
That's exactly it. And also, speaking of normal, we have some lake effect snow in the forecast. Our Matt Wentz is, of course, keeping an eye on all of that. Matt, what's the latest?
Yeah, so we've got lake effect snow coming. This would be later on tonight and then especially tomorrow. And it's only going to be for some of us. Those in the Snowbelt know exactly what this drill is like. But for now, we've got a general light snow down to the south. So we'll get you caught up radar-wise. All the lake snow out over the lake as expected. It's targeted towards Buffalo. We're not dealing with that this evening. Down to the south, this is that system snow spreading generally a light snow across areas of Tuscarawas, southern Stark County, even over towards the Millersburg area. You can see the radar returns pretty impressive and consistent. Live look via ODOT cam. This is down in the New Philadelphia area. You can see, yeah, we've got some slick travel, some of those untreated surfaces, reduced visibility as well. And I was checking some of the travel. If you have travel plans along 77, Marietta is where you really start to encounter the problems. Kentucky's a mess. Tennessee's a mess as well. But locally, just some side roads in areas of Tuscarawas County that are experiencing some slowdowns, slower than usual traffic. So here's this system as it's heading by. That's not the one that's going to impact us, but it will, because as that moves by, it's going to drag the wind direction from the southwest, as we've been talking last couple days, off towards the west and northwesterly fetch. That brings the lake snow into the Snowbelt, including Cuyahoga County as well. Winter weather advisory out starting tonight, goes through late tomorrow and even Saturday morning. We'll talk how much and impacts coming up.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Well, today marks 1 year since rioters stormed our nation's capital. The violence turned deadly as 5 people lost their lives as a result of the actions on that day. Today, President Biden delivered a direct speech placing blame for the attack on President Trump. It was the first event in a day of ceremonies, remembrances, and reflections for the lawmakers and staff who were there that day. NBC's Chris Ballone has the latest now from Washington.
In a day of solemn remembrances at the Capitol,
the pain and scars from that day run deep.
President Biden used his sharpest language so far, putting direct blame for the deadly insurrection that happened there 1 year ago on his predecessor, who continues to falsely claim the 2020 election was fraudulent.
Here's the truth. The former President of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election.
The president spoke in Statuary Hall, which was filled a year ago with supporters of former President Trump who clashed with police, broke in, and tried to stop the certification of Biden's election victory.
This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection.
We commend our spirits of fear, anger, and uncertainty.
Later, lawmakers prayed, held a moment of silence, and remembered the police officers who died in the attack's aftermath.
Because of them, Congress was able to defeat the insurrection.
Most Republicans skipped the commemorations, but former Vice President Dick Cheney visited the House floor with his daughter Liz, who is one of 2 Republicans on the committee investigating the January 6th attack.
Unfortunately, too many in my own party are embracing that former president, are looking the other way, are minimizing the danger.
In one of several falsehood-laden statements he issued Thursday, former President Trump called the day's events political theater.
I will stand in this breach. I will defend this nation. And I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy.
Ramping up his rhetoric, the president made clear he believes the threat from the insurrection and those who supported it remains serious even today. And more than 700 people have been arrested and charged for their roles in the Capitol attack a year ago. The Attorney General said yesterday that the investigation will go where the facts lead. Jay, back to you.
All right, Chris, we've heard plenty from Democratic leaders today. Among the comments not previously heard, at least in that report, Vice President Kamala Harris comparing January 6th of last year to December 7th, which of course was the date of the Pearl Harbor attacks, and also comparing it to 9/11. I'm wondering what Republican leaders are saying. I know they were absent from many of the ceremonies today, but what are they saying on this, the first anniversary of the riots?
Yeah, not much. And to be honest, many of them were not here. A lot of them are attending the funeral for former Senator Johnny Isakson down in Georgia. But we did see a few statements over the last few days and today, basically blaming Democrats for politicizing the attack. Today, Mitch McConnell, in his statement, the Senate Minority Leader, called January 6th a dark day. But then he accused Democrats of politicizing the day, saying that they're trying to use it to pass filibuster reform, which obviously has been going on in the last couple of weeks. Senator Lindsey Graham, who originally seemed to part ways with the former president in the days after January 6th, defended him today. He said that the President Biden's speech today was a brazen politicization. I knew I was going to say that wrong, of January 6th. Easy for me to say, right?
Yeah. Chris Pallone live tonight from our nation's capital. Chris, thank you. Betsy?
Well, on this date a year ago, several Ohio congressional members were on Capitol grounds as rioters entered that building. Today, many reflected on the destruction that happened inside. But the focus today surrounds a couple things. Security at that Capitol, which they say has improved greatly since last year, and making sure those who were involved are still brought to justice.
They were defending us every second of the way, and they were so outnumbered. And we'd been up in the gallery for quite a while. And so you could hear the damage occurring, the echoes in the Capitol itself.
I think the leadership's improved. I know that officers are dedicated. I've talked to a lot of officers since then. I've talked to custodians and other workers at the Capitol that they don't want to live through anything like that again.
We also reached out to Senator Rob Portman, who said, quote, "The January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, a symbol of American democracy, was a stain on our nation's history, and we need to be sure it never happens again," end quote.
Now on your feet at 5, booster shots for teens. A CDC panel recommends now that vaccinated kids ages 12 to 15 should indeed get boosted to increase their protection from COVID-19. Emma Henderson has been working on this story all day. She spoke to a pediatrician about why this is extra important in our community, where, as you know, we have seen incredibly high rates of the Omicron variant.
We have our highest rates of pediatric hospitalization for COVID right now that we've had throughout the entire pandemic. And that really is because this variant is just so contagious.
Like adults, children are breaking hospitalization records for COVID cases right now as the Omicron variant tears through Northeast Ohio. Unlike adults and older teens, kids ages 12 through 15 weren't eligible for boosters until a CDC recommendation Monday. So now University Hospitals is encouraging parents to reach out to their children's pediatrician and have them boosted.
We've got a large number of 12 to 15-year-olds who got their vaccines more than 6 months ago. And so it's wonderful that we're going to be able to now get them boosters.
Dr. Robin Strosiker has seen the consequences of unvaccinated children getting severe cases of COVID firsthand.
Seeing a child in an ICU with a vaccine-preventable illness is heartbreaking.
Olmsted Falls parent Dean Dreifke is making sure his 15-year-old gets boosted as soon as possible, following his long experience with COVID.
I was hospitalized for a month, ventilated for a week, and after that, I developed CIPD, lost feeling in both my feet, and I'm doing physical and occupational therapy, but I almost passed away, too.
And after his ongoing recovery, he has this message for other parents.
It was very easy. Trust science.
Trust science, because Dr. Strosiker says the majority of kids in their ICU are either not vaccinated or under-vaccinated. Emma Henderson, 3 News.
Well, while we are all watching how the pandemic is impacting humans, researchers across the country are finding COVID-19 is rampant among another local species, deer. Ohio State's College of Veterinary Medicine first asked the question during last winter's surge. In January 2021, they started testing animals, pets, farm animals, and those in the wild. The most interesting results came from Northeast Ohio, where Cleveland Metro Parks Natural Resources Division tested 360 or so dead deer. They were culled as part of its management program in Cuyahoga and Medina counties. The results, just published in the scientific journal Nature, showed deer-to-deer transmission, as well as at least 6 so-called spillover events where deer caught the virus from us.
I think that's the question we've all been scratching our heads on because, like I said, it didn't happen once. It happened at least 6 times and probably more than that. The question is how's that happening?
Well, the current best guess is that humans are contaminating their environment through wastewater, trash, or feeding stations. While there's no evidence yet of deer to human transmission, it is possible, and that's where the real concern lies and why it's so important they're continuing to follow deer and other animals in Ohio and around the country. Our Sarah Shookman explains these findings further tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm fascinated by this. We've been hearing about the tigers and the apes and the zoo animals and whatnot. Now, this is much more prolific and a lot closer to home.
Yeah, it's interesting because we know from certain studies in areas that the virus has been found in drinking water. And if there is runoff into ponds that they drink from, that might explain it. I guess, as you said, that's their best guess right now, and that's all they really have to go on. But it is fascinating how this particular virus is going in different species and how it grows and replicates in different animals. It's just, it's really mind-boggling. It shows, once again, as much as we think we know about the virus, there's way more about it we don't know.
Mammals are mammals.
Yes, they are. And it kind of stands to reason, but it's still interesting to read about.
It is. Well, what's next for us here on What's New? Tracking your pup's fitness. We'll show you the new Smart Dog collar being released and how it all works.
And just like that, Big is out. We're going to tell you about the new allegations Chris Noth is facing that has him scrapped from HBO's new revival season finale.
And of course, Matt, we got a lot to chat about with this forecast coming up.
Yeah, we sure do. We've got some light snow right now down towards the south, and then all eyes will turn towards the lake effect snow potential tonight all the way through early Saturday. But until then, if you're heading on out, it's cold for everyone. We have that in common. That snow continues down towards the south. Temperatures in the 20s, feels more like the single digits and teens outside. When do we have a warm up, and is there more snow in the forecast? We'll talk about that lake effect potential next.
Welcome back to What's New. Time to talk tech. This is interesting. Fitness trackers are just huge, as you know. They're very popular. And given how much people love their pets, it only stands to reason that some brilliant mind was sitting around one day saying, you know, we need these fitness trackers for our pets.
How has it taken this long? That's my question.
You know, I thought the same thing this morning. I'm like, wait, I could have had this idea 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Anyhow, a tech company called Invoxia is going to present its smart dog collar at the upcoming Consumer Electronics Show. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the next greatest products are there. It uses sensors and other technology to monitor a dog's health, track its whereabouts, and warn owners of potential health problems.
Now, the miniature radar sensors will measure a dog's respiratory and heart rates. The collar tells you how much time your dog spent walking, resting, and eating. It alerts the human also if the dog escaped.
That's a cool feature.
That's a great feature.
It really
I
is.
would love, now this is where I kind of get crazy because I love to torment, you know, my pets and whatnot.
Sure.
And tease them a little bit.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, it's kind of fun to watch them, right? And you show them something or you say a keyword and see what their reaction is. It'd be very interesting because you can monitor their respiratory and heart rate if you show them a goodie, so to speak. Or
or just say the word outside.
C-O-O or W-A-L-K or something like that. If you hold it up and see if their heart rate responds, see if they respond to that.
I bet it does. I can't tell you how many times on walks through the woods, my wife and I have had this conversation. So we're walking 3 miles.
Yeah.
But our dogs are constantly running out of eyesight in front of us, and then they'll tear by us going behind us. And I always say, I wonder how many miles they're putting in.
Right.
Well, with this dog tracker collar, we can figure that out.
And they have 2 more legs, so you double what you're
And they
doing
move a
and
lot
then
faster than we
go
do.
back and forth, back and forth. We won't even get into leashes right now, though. But
Oh,
as
yes,
far
we
as
will.
they get so happy in the woods, though.
Did you guys see how happy that dog looked to be strapped to something? Boy, they're little science experiments we have now. Isn't that
I
great?
know. Just sign me up, right? We are going to be getting into leashes.
Oh.
Because that's my weather word today.
What?
Yes. And I know you didn't know that.
I had no
Because I
idea.
never tell you or Matt what it's going to be.
I didn't either, Betsy.
It's always a pop quiz. But, you know, talking about dogs and walks, it came to my mind, leash.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
a good one.
There you go, Matt.
Have at it, Matt.
I already figured it out. Let's go. Let's get to the maps. All right. Here's what everyone's dealing with, right? We're not all going to deal with the lake effect. We're all dealing with cold. This is the number that matters. It's what it feels like outside. This is dangerous, right? You got to get the kids bundled up. We know that, hopefully. You notice single-digit wind chills out towards the west, a little bit milder out towards the east. This is where there's moisture with that system coming through and more in the way of cloud cover. This is that system down to the south, put down up to a half a foot of snow areas of Tennessee. They don't deal with it well down there. We do down in our southern counties. You see the light snow that we're dealing with. Some heavier rates here as you get up towards the New Philly area. Eventually, as you cross into the Stark County line there. Live look courtesy ODOT 77 at 250 there. We're fine on the streets. It's some of the side roads. I noticed the exit ramp there had a little bit of snow on it as well. So you just need to take it a little bit slower down to the south. This will be out of here over the next couple hours, and that is the key to our forecast. You notice the lakes with that cold air that we have been activated. Pretty heavy lake effect snow all across the Great Lakes. But for us, we've had that southwest trajectory. That does not bring us snow into northeast Ohio. It brings it up towards Buffalo. And as expected, they're getting hit pretty hard up there. So no snow in the forecast, right? As long as we keep that wind out of the south and the west. The problem is when this system goes by, like a leash, this system's going to grab that air off towards the north and it's going to switch that wind direction. And now we start to bring in the Snowbelt into play with some of that lake effect snow in Ashtabula, Lake Geauga, even Cuyahoga counties. We've got a winter weather advisory for some winter travel as we get into the morning hours. And the problem with this is going to be the timing of it. Some of the models bringing the snow band in for that morning rush hour tomorrow. So that could be problematic. So let's take you through it. National News IMART hour by hour forecast. Keep an eye on that number in the blue. That's what matters. Again, in terms of the wind chill, feeling more like 0 at times. Here comes our lake band. The wind is going to start to switch later on this evening and then especially on into the overnight. So that'll bring our lake effect band that's out towards Buffalo inland. First hitting Erie, then eventually Ashtabula and Lake counties. Here's the timeline, at least what this model thinks is going to be happening at 7 a.m. tomorrow, morning rush hour. We've got a pretty decent lake effect band potential in areas of Cuyahoga and Geauga County. Same thing for Ashtabula, Lake County. So we could have some impacted travel tomorrow morning. You know how it goes. You go from nothing to pretty decently low visibility. This is going to be a light, fluffy snow with the cold air as well. That band should continue to hit areas of the snow belt as we go throughout the morning hours. May weaken up as we go throughout the day. Notice we've got sunshine and cold temperatures elsewhere. And there are signs that we may get a secondary band that develops as everything kind of sweeps north later on tomorrow afternoon. So in terms of the modeling, this is our latest model run. You notice lighter amounts down down to the south. A couple inches as you get out in the Snowbelt, though. And again, this would be tomorrow morning commute impacts. And in terms of impacts, yeah, we'll have fluffy snow around. Travel could be impacted in those localized areas. Not looking for power outages. Again, not a heavy wet snow, very fluffy snow. That'll also blow around. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. Cold tomorrow. We rebound this weekend, though. Rain and snow on Sunday, and then an even colder shot Monday, Tuesday. And guys, that looks like a better lake effect potentially even versus this one. And we'll talk more about that over the weekend.
Colder too.
I see that 9 on there. I'm not happy about that.
That's a bonus 9 at this point for some places.
It is a bonus,
right.
A bonus
We'll
9.
see how it works out.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. Next on What's New, who can forget Olympic gold medalist Suni Lee? She made global news in Tokyo, but now the gymnast is making headlines for her relationship. We'll have details. That's coming up next in Pop Break.
Then this cat and rabbit appear to be best buds. We'll show you what the cat learned from the bunny in our Worth the Watch.
Oh, Kalista. Christopher Noth, we talked about that, so you got that one. Suni Lee and her new boyfriend, Jalen Smith, USC football player. Does that ring a bell? Nope, okay. And then I know you know this one, Tommy Lee and Pam Anderson. Yeah. Hi, my name is Kiera. We're talking all things Pop Break. I can move it. How much time do I have? Is that better? Cool.
Welcome back to What's New. It is now time for your Thursday Pop Break. Kiera Cotton joins us from the newsroom with all of the entertainment headlines. Hi, Key.
Hi, Jay. You know, the going is still tough for actor Chris Noth. If you thought Mr. Big was making a comeback on HBO's And Just Like That, think again. Following sexual assault allegations from multiple women, Noth's cameo has been cut from the series finale. Noth's character, the longtime love interest turned husband to Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, died in the first episode of the reboot. In addition to being removed from the finale, Noth was also dropped by his agents and fired from his role on The Equalizer as the result of the allegations. And it's been just over a week since Olympic gold medalist Suni Lee let the world in on her love life. Suni, who is Asian American, is dating USC football player Jalen Smith, who is black, and that hasn't gone over well with some. The former Dancing with the Stars contestant commented on a TikTok video supporting her and Jalen's interracial relationship, saying, "This makes me so happy. I've received so much hate. They support me when it's beneficial for them, but never when it comes to my happiness. Here's to hoping that love wins and that the haters learn to mind their business." And now we have a first look at the greatest love story ever sold. Tommy Lee of Motley Crue and Pamela Anderson of Baywatch had pop culture in a chokehold during the mid-90s, and in a new limited series from Hulu, that series explores their relationship and their infamous sex tape scandal. In the trailer released today, Lily James and Sebastian Stan star as the former couple, while Seth Rogen plays the role of the electrician who stole their infamous sex tape. Pam and Tommy debuts on Hulu February 2nd. And we're sending a big congratulations to Michelle Kwan. The two-time Olympic figure skater welcomed her first child today, a baby girl named Calista Bell. Jay and Betsy.
All right, very interesting. So 18 years from now or so, we'll be looking for that Olympic gold medal.
Absolutely.
No, we're kidding. We're kidding.
Maybe she'll play hockey.
Hey, who knows? The world is in her hands.
Completely switch it up.
We're happy for her. Thanks, Key.
Thanks. Now on to our Worth the Watch. And we've heard the saying that monkey see, monkey do. But what about kitten see, kitten do? Check this out. A little kitten is following the rabbit's lead. And watch. Hop. Hop. Isn't that adorable? I love this video. Yeah, the kitten obviously learning from its sibling, the rabbit, as they just kind of saunter around the house.
You know the video I want to see? I want to see the video 3 months from now when that kitten can, from a standstill, leap up onto a 4-foot-high countertop. I want to see the rabbit try to turn that trick.
I think the rabbit's like, I really don't care about you so much. Just leave me alone and let me hop away.
That's usually cats' attitudes, you know? They're usually like, whatever, I'm here and you happen to be sharing this space with me.
The kitten's still in the happy phase.
That is adorable, though. It really is. Next thing you know, the kitten will be eating carrots.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Still ahead on what's new. Bye-bye Blackberry. The once very popular cell phone calls it quits forever. Mike Polk Jr. is the only person I know still using one. He's going to share his thoughts on the so long to his standby of old school devices, and I can't wait to hear it.
I always thought those were so confusing. Plus, the first week of 2022 calls for a little special Throwdown Thursday. We're going to test your and our New Year's knowledge.
Okay, and later, a Cleveland staple is getting new life. What's new with the old Sokolowski's property? We're going to tell you when What's New comes right back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We start tonight at 5:30 with three things you need to know. Today marks 1 year since the riots on our Capitol. You're looking now at live pictures from the Capitol steps where members of Congress observed the first anniversary earlier today. There were several events that took place earlier today. President Biden speaking in Statuary Hall, which was filled with rioters 1 year ago. They attempted to stop the certification of President Biden's election victory.
I will stand in this breach. I will defend this nation. I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy.
Most Republicans claiming that it was political theater skipped the commemoration. Meantime, former President Trump called the day's events just that, political theater.
We now have new details on the collapse of an underground parking garage in Lakewood just before Christmas. The city of Lakewood filed charges against 3 entities linked to that property. The complaints were filed against Atlas Masonry and Restoration, Burton Carroll Management, and Marine Towers for failing to secure a permit. The garage, which is part of an apartment complex, collapsed just before 10 in the morning on December 23rd. No one, thankfully, was in that garage when it did collapse, but several cars were crushed.
Betsy, let's take a look now at our coronavirus figures. For the second straight day, our daily COVID count is down ever so slightly, but numbers still remain well above our rolling 21-day averages. The state reporting 19,422 new cases to go along with 453 new hospitalizations. By the way, that number down about 140 from yesterday, but still alarmingly high. Ohio now has 6,536 COVID-19 patients currently in hospitals, once again establishing a new single-day high for the entire pandemic. And we say this often, but I think it bears repeating. Looked at the numbers again just a few hours ago. Even now, 95% of our hospitalizations and 95% of our deaths going back to January 1st of last year have been amongst the unvaccinated.
I've been keeping an eye, obviously, on school stats, including the schools that my children are at.
Yeah.
And, on Monday, there was a list that came out, we have this many new COVID cases. The next day, we have this many, and it's 3 times as much as our biggest day back earlier in the pandemic.
Yeah, it's making our numbers from 1 year ago look small. And we didn't think that was possible, particularly in July when our numbers were almost non-existent.
Right.
With that, we welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New, along with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford, and I said this earlier, I'll say it again. It's official. I'm not a meteorologist, but I do know several that are, and it's officially cold out there.
It is cold.
Yeah.
Below average.
Below average cold, really?
That's a good way to put it,
Okay.
Kind of in context. We talk about context a lot. Not the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Probably not the worst we're going to see.
No, definitely not.
But it's cold out there.
Yeah, it's still worth talking about because it's a little uncomfortable.
A lot of people have been watching this unfold on their little smart devices. And back in 2012, Blackberry had more than 80 million active users and controlled 50% of the U.S. market. Remember that? This week, though, the end of an era as those once popular Blackberry devices, they stopped working.
Yeah, that's shocking, really, because I remember when they were the dominant device of choice. But now the company that makes them has been talking about stopping this service for a while, about a year now, but it's coming. Our Mike Polk Jr. is one of the last Blackberry users we know of.
Of course.
And he has this Blackberry tribute.
Good afternoon. Today, we mourn the passing of a dear old friend, the Blackberry mobile device. And at the same time, the end of an era. Well, to be fair, the era ended about 8 to 10 years ago, but for some of us, it's still pretty fresh. The Ontario-based company Blackberry, which is indeed still a company, announced that as of this week, they will stop running support for all of their classic devices, thereby officially rendering Blackberries little more than Canadian calculators that also play Tetris. A tragic end for what was once considered cutting-edge technology. With its sturdy frame and satisfying, clicky physical keyboard, the phone was so popular back in its heyday that it earned the nickname Crackberry due to its addictive nature. In retrospect, that nickname was probably problematic and inappropriate, but it was the early 2000s and none of us knew any better back then, so cut us in the past some slack. The signature QWERTY keyboard appealed to business professionals, which made them the perfect accessory for the insufferable 2004 businessman on the go. More than that, Blackberries became a status symbol. Mega celebs like Kim Kardashian and even Barack Obama were both notoriously inseparable from their BBs.
And I was the first president to have a Blackberry. And so years pass, and no one else has Blackberry.
So what happened? How did this once dominant device go the way of the 8-track player and the Laserdisc? The answer arrived in 2007, and it was wearing a black mock turtleneck.
Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen.
Apple's introduction of the iPhone began the touchscreen revolution, leaving the once proud BlackBerry behind in the technological dust. But some of us soldiered on, resisted the siren song of the trendy iPhone, and held on to our Blackberries like grim death. Why? Because we are stubborn and we detest change. But we also genuinely prefer the tactile keyboard of the BlackBerry, its simplicity, and the fact that unlike the vexingly delicate iPhone, you could drop one of these into a toilet, then off the terminal tower observation deck, and it would still work just fine somehow. But not anymore. For today, this BlackBerry is silenced. I mean, except for whatever music I already had downloaded on it. I think I have a Fall Out Boy album on there, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, it can no longer function as a phone, even if I wanted it to. So rest easy, dear friend. Your work here is done. This marks the end of our ceremony. For those of you who wish to join us for the burial, we will be caravanning to Edgewater Beach Park, where the deceased will be placed on a raft, set aflame, and pushed out to sea towards its motherland of Canada for its final repose. Thank you all for coming.
I hope he tapes that for us. Mike, please capture that on video.
Absolutely. Now, I have, as you know, I have a BlackBerry currently still. Yeah. I've been evolving with them as they've been evolving. I got this one, and then I kept trying to get the new ones, including this one, which everyone likes to make fun of. That doesn't fit in anyone's pocket, and it's the size of a trapper keeper. But now I still have a BlackBerry, and believe it or not, this one still works because it doesn't run on the BlackBerry platform. They started making it with an Android platform about 4 or 5 years ago, then they gave up on that, but there was this sweet little window that I got into, so I still have a functioning BlackBerry because it runs on the Android platform.
So you're kind of grandfathered in.
I am. I'm literally grandfathered in because most people are grandfathers who have Blackberries, and I'm grandfathered into the BlackBerry technology.
It doesn't flip. I think that's where a lot of the grandfathers
Yeah, that's
are.
definitely the grandfather phone of choice. You know, Betsy, this is a true story. I've been with Mike on a number of occasions when he's pulled that out, and
everybody looks.
I'm just frozen in my tracks. I'm
What
like,
is that?
Mike, is that a BlackBerry? And he's like, yeah.
There's nothing quite like the outright horror and shock on the look of a millennial's face when I pull this thing out and start using it as a phone. People are just, what is he doing? You know, it's amazing. So, and it really is, that's one of the reasons that I still have this. It's just to annoy people.
Okay, my last thought on this as we go is, will there be a time in the near future where we're having the same story about iPhones? Technology never stops, kids.
That's true.
Something's coming. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, we're at like iPhone, what are we at? iPhone 715 right now? It seems like it just keeps going
or
up.
so.
But still, yeah, you're right. Nothing's permanent, including this sweet, sweet BlackBerry.
Well, Mike, our condolences.
I appreciate that, guys. Means a lot coming from you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Take care. All right, still ahead, having both the flu and the coronavirus at the same time. Yep, double infection, and it has a name. We'll explain.
Yeah, I heard that name, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Later, New Year's trivia from the history of January to resolutions and more. Matt Wintz will be operating as our MC.
Mic check. We are talking about what flu-rona means in Clicking in Cleveland today. Thank you.
All right, it is 5:40, almost 5:41, Matt, if we're really getting persnickety
Technical.
on that.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, the cold air that's here now is very, on time for this time of the year. And I made mention to Matt and the weather team earlier, Peyton's in today also, that, we kind of have to keep everything in perspective
Right.
when this cold comes in and we get, our first decent accumulating snow.
Yeah, 23 in July is crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
23 in January, it's like, that's what we expect.
Yeah, it's January. The ground's frozen. It's fine. It should be frozen. I was actually looking up some random stats. You know how we like stats around here. A number of 20-degree days so far for highs. We averaged 10 by now, and this is only our second 20-degree day today. So to put it into perspective, we're long overdue. I think most people get that as well. But we've got some snow on the way. Cold air over our warmer than average lake water. We are going to have some lake effect snow. Winter weather advisories in effect. They go into effect tonight. It's really, early morning hours tomorrow. Starts at 4 a.m. for Lake Geauga and Cuyahoga County. 1 a.m. out towards Ashtabula County. Why earlier? Well, that lake effect band, if you joined me earlier, is going to be sinking south across the lake. Not much doing right now. A couple flurries as you get up towards the Menor area. That's about it. Down to the south, they've got the bulk of the snow from the system that's going by right now. It's just a light snow, but it's been persistent as you get down I-77, as you get down towards the Tuscarawas, Dover, New Philly area. You can see reduced visibilities. Yeah, the side areas that aren't really salted right now are dealing with some slick spots. Some of the side roads as well. Slower than average travel down there. This system will be out of here over the next 2 to 3 hours, eventually impacting areas of the eastern seaboard. You notice the Great Lakes have been activated with that cold air. We've got a couple bands of some heavier lake effect snow ongoing now, but the one we've been watching has been targeting Buffalo with that southwest wind that we have. But as we look off towards the west, remember that low is going to push east, so that's going to pull some of this south. And we have a northwest wind across areas of Michigan. Eventually, we too will get that northwest wind. That will bring that Buffalo band further down to the south, perhaps impacting Ashtabula first, and then eventually Lake County, and then eventually Geauga and Cuyahoga County. So the timing on this, depending on what model you look at, is overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Just how soon does that band and how organized is it as it sinks in? How soon does it come in here? That's the big question. It does look like tomorrow morning's rush hour will likely have heavier lake effect snow out towards the east. Keep in mind, it's going to be localized, but if you're under that, you know the impacts from that. Otherwise, we are cold, and we're going to remain cold tomorrow with your National Design-Mart forecast. You notice as we go through time, the band kind of weakens up a little bit, perhaps reactivating in the afternoon. But keep in mind that morning rush hour is the time frame that we're really focused on right now for some of this heavier snow. Accumulations will be light outside the snow belt, but you notice Lake Ashtabula County, even Geauga, Cuyahoga County, a couple inches. Could see upwards 6 to 8 or so if this band sits over an area long enough. In terms of impacts, we're talking snow. Yep, it's going to be there. Travel, the biggest impact tomorrow morning. Power outages, not expecting much of that. In terms of cold air, we'll get more of this. We get a little break over the weekend. Another pretty decent hit. Looks colder than this on Monday and Tuesday, and that will trigger perhaps more lake effect snow. Could be more impressive. Union Home Mortgage 7-day temp drop on Sunday. There's your cold air. We should rebound pretty quickly. Jay.
Thank you very much. Right now, it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland, and for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hello to you, Stephanie.
Hello to you, Jay. Now, this one is for everyone who's seen that word flu-rona popping around online. This is not a new illness. The word started being used after a woman in Israel was diagnosed with COVID-19 and the flu at the same time. Now, the patient is an unvaccinated pregnant woman who is in good condition and recovering at home. Doctors say this isn't surprising, and it's not new. The word is the only new thing here. The flu is everywhere, and coronavirus is also everywhere. And it's also different than the concept of a twindemic, which is in rising COVID-19 cases coincide with the rising number of flu cases overwhelming our healthcare system. So that's the difference there. Now, Cleveland's beloved Sokolowski's University Inn is close to getting a new lease on life, or a new deed, I should say. The pierogi hotspot closed in March of 2020 because of the pandemic. The owners later said they were selling it to enjoy downtime. So now, internationally famous local artist Giancarlo Calicia says he's buying it, and the deal will close in about a month. He has been friends with the Sokolowskis since he moved here from Italy in the 1980s, and he says it was an emotional choice. He's still deciding what to do with it. We look forward to seeing what happens there. And at least 2 lucky winners are taking home last night's $632 million Powerball jackpot. One ticket was sold at this 7-Eleven that you see here in Sacramento, California, and the other one was sold in Wisconsin. Now, whoever has the 2 tickets will split the big prize. That means each ticket is worth $316.3 million, or $225.1 million if the winners choose that upfront cash option. Now, this is the 7th largest Powerball payout ever, Jay and Betsy, and 2 tickets won $2 million each, and there were 7 states where there were $1 million winning tickets sold. So I think the moral of the story is I'm updating my student loan payoff plan to start playing the Powerball, because I would take any of those prizes.
You know what they say, you can't win if you don't play.
Yeah.
I wonder what the odds are on the people that end up winning. I'd love to know exactly how much they spent before they won that $1 million.
I would too.
For them, it probably paid
There's
off.
a documentary in there somewhere.
There's a reality show about $1 million people and what they lottery winning people.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
A lot of them go broke or end up being unhappy after a period of years, but with $225 million in straight cash up front, moderate investment would pay you about $10 million annually, where you never touch that principal.
That's why I'm going straight to you when I win, Jay, because
I'm ready for it.
He's got it.
Yeah.
And you'll have a lot of new friends and family that you never knew you had.
Yeah, you will.
Out. All right, thanks so much, Stephanie. Right after the break, it's Throwdown Thursday, everybody. Matt's back to test our trivia on some New Year's facts and stats.
Can't wait for that. And later, Kevin Love shares the love, signing an autograph for a young fan. The full video and the story is coming up. It's our Show Us Something Good.
All right, it's the first full week of 2022. So we decided to make our Throwdown Thursday New Year's related.
Yeah, Matt Wentz will be emceeing the festivities from over in the Weather Center. Matt, take it away.
First of all, do we know where the leg lamp is after the holidays?
It's on my desk.
Okay, got it. Got it. All right.
Jay has it.
Make that very clear, Jay. Jeez. All right, question number one. What year was January 1st officially declared the first day of the new year? Was it A, 32 BC, B, you'll remember this one, Jay, 46 BC, or C, 1476?
That's me buzzing in.
What do you got, Jay?
Gosh, could it have been that long ago? Yeah, of course. I mean, January 1st, let's go for 46.
That's it. Good job,
Bingo.
Jay. Wow.
Now, was Dick Clark doing the celebration there? No,
it was the next
love
year.
Dick Clark. He was awesome, but he did it for so many years.
He did.
But not that many.
Not that many.
It will not be C.
All right.
All right. Question 2. January. The word January gets its name from what Roman god? Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. Mercury, the god of travelers and tradesmen. Or Janus, the god of doors and gates. Or D, January Keaton, our order.
Jeez, I don't know that.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Janus.
Wow, you guys are rolling this year. What have you been studying over the holidays?
Right. She's got 2 points because that's question number 2, and I have 1.
2-1. Okay, let's keep it rolling, shall we? Let's talk resolutions. We've all made them. Question is for people who make a New Year's resolution, how many are successful after the first 1 month? Is it A, 74%, B, 69%, or C, 64%?
Just after the first month?
Yeah, 1 month in.
I'm going to say B.
No, that is not right.
The last one, the smallest number.
Correct.
64%.
64%. You're right. All right.
There we go.
He's back in the lead. 4-2, right?
4-2. Yes, you're right.
You got
4-2,
it.
my math.
That's me over here. All right. Question number 4. What is the number 1 reason for resolution failure? A, unrealistic goals. B, didn't keep track of the progress. Or C, forgot about your resolution.
Where's D? Come on. Come on.
I'm going to say unrealistic goals because we talked about this in a story earlier this week, and I'm pretty sure that's what we used as the number 1. Is that right?
You got this, Jay. I think you just clinched with that, but let's do the last one just for fun.
It's 8-2, and she can only finish with 7, so the leg lamp is safe on my desk. But go ahead for
see.
fun.
We could do bonus points, double or nothing. We know fitness and having a healthier lifestyle tops resolutions every year is the most popular. But what is the 3rd most popular resolution? A, to save money, B, to travel more, or C, to quit smoking?
3rd most popular. Oh my God. Let's see. I'll ring in.
Go ahead.
Why not? I'm going to say travel more.
For the almost win.
No.
Yeah,
See, I'm not doing well.
That's okay.
Definitely going with the smoking.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're
that's
right, Jay.
I'm surprised that's number 3.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought it would have been even higher.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think fewer people smoke now as a percentage than used to.
Yeah, that's true. Or
Probably
maybe people,
because they stuck to their New Year's resolution.
Maybe people figure that the fitness goals that they set kind of supersede all that.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
And Betsy, I think you weren't, the best at this because I know you're a big fitness goal setter and New Year's resolution person, but, we'll get back to weather next year.
I do?
I was kidding. It's not really your hot topic.
Betsy said earlier this week, and I loved it. She said, the people say you're supposed to exercise 5 times a week. For a large portion of my life, I played competitive athletics, and I didn't practice 5 times a week.
I tried to not exercise. My coach can tell you.
Yet, I've spoken to people that watched Betsy high jump in high school. This is true now. And they tell me that she was a phenomenal high school high jumper. You're being modest now.
Yeah, no.
I was given stats and how high you jumped.
I wasn't good enough.
You were very good. She's being modest right now. Matt, thanks.
Yep, good job.
Okay, next is Sweet Sign. The moment Kevin Love took to show his appreciation for one young fan. I love this too, I really do. We're going to show it to you and explain all of it just after the break. It's our Show Us Something Good.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, there's new concerns about COVID at the Winter Games in Beijing, now less than a month away. We'll tell you about some of the new enforcements expected. Well, today is National Technology Day, and our pop quiz question is, which institution is credited with creating the first website? The answer is CERN. That was in 1991 at a particle physics lab in Switzerland. 91.
That's crazy.
It just doesn't seem that long ago. Keep in mind, it's like 30 years ago now.
I know. Time flies. All right, we're going to wrap it up with our Show Us Something Good. This is super sweet. Comes to us from the Cavs. It was captured off the court, and it's getting a lot of much-deserved attention. Fan favorite Kevin Love running off the court, and then he notices out of the corner of his eye a young little girl who's waiting for an autograph. So he throws it in reverse, Bets.
I love it.
He goes back, takes the time, and signs the autograph. And I know that, that shouldn't be a big deal.
It is.
But it is a big deal because he took the time. And I love it when I see pro athletes spend time showing their fan base, which actually pay their salaries, appreciation.
It is such a big deal. And there's so many athletes that don't get that. They get all wrapped up in ego and they don't understand.
Never take the fans for granted.
Keep it real.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Laura starts right now.
Winter on the way.
We have the best drivers in the business, and they're going to be out there in full force making sure the roads are safe for you come tomorrow morning.
ODOT is getting ready tonight for the first real blast of snow, ice, and cold. Chief Meteorologist Betsy Kling is tracking the